Minjee Lee, Australia's new US Women's Open champion, has named winning all 5 majors as one of her high career ambitions. Minjee Lee's aiming for a career Grand Slam and the coveted Australian Open title after winning women's golf's costliest and most prestigious championship, and we're here for it. Lee has enormous aspirations for the women's golf world, and we can only watch to see where she goes next with it. First off, let's look at Minjee Lee's US Open win earlier this month. Minjee Lee led the final round of the US Women's Open at Pine Needles by 3 strokes. She increased her lead over the field by opening the 4th round birdie-birdie. The Australian 26-year-old left little doubt, winning the US Women's Open by 4 strokes over Mina Harrogate. Lee established the record for the lowest 72-hole score in US Women's Open history. The previous record was 272, which was set by 3 players: Annika Sorenstam in 1996, Julie Inkster in 1999, and In-Ji Chun in 2015. The USGA announced in January that the money for the US Women's Open will nearly quadruple. The prize pool was boosted from $5.5 million to $10 million, with the winner receiving $1.8 million. It's the greatest prize money any woman has ever won. Okay, so what are her plans for the future? Minjee Lee is aiming for a career Grand Slam and the coveted Australian Open title after winning women's golf's costliest and most prestigious championship. Lee still feels surreal 2 days after romping to a 4-stroke victory at the $14 million US Women's Open at Pine Needles, having joined legends Karrie, Webb, and Stephenson as Australia's only female multiple major champions. Being one of the several big champions is truly an honor and something very meaningful to me. It's really great, the 26-year-old stated on Wednesday from her headquarters in Dallas. Minjee Lee's wanted to win the US Women's Open since she was a child in Perth and believes her victory will serve as a positive role model for other young Australian golfers, particularly girls. Lee became a multiple major champion on Sunday, joining the ranks of her country's all-time greats. The 26-year-old world number 4 shot 71 and finished at Pine Needles with a record-breaking 13 under par 271 to earn an astounding $1.8 million payout. The competition included a record-breaking $10 million purse, more than double the amount from the previous year, making Lee's triumph the largest in women's golf history. The 2-time Olympian claims she had no idea what she planned to do with the money. Lee was born in Perth, Western Australia, to South Korean parents who came to Australia in the 90s. She began her sports career as a swimmer, but at the age of 10, she easily shifted to golf and immediately dominated the amateur scene, winning the U.S. Girls Junior Championship in 2012. But that's not all, though. Lee shared that she's got even more plans for her future in golf, adding that she plans on winning the next 3 majors. Lee currently owns 2 of the 5 major trophies, the Evian Championship and the U.S. Women's Open. The Women's PGA Championship was held at Congressional in Maryland from June 23rd to 26th, followed by Lee's Evian Defense in France from July 21st to 24th. From August 4th through 7th, the Women's British Open at Muirfield in Scotland will finish up the women's majors for the season. The Perth ace entered all 3 tournaments and many others in between, full of confidence after winning her last 2-stroke play events and leading the LPGA Tour's 2022 scoring average because of her superb ball striking and putter technique. Also, Lee reflected on her career so far. She shared that she definitely feels that she's come a long way since she first started playing golf, especially when it comes to the way she strikes a ball. And we can definitely see the effort she's put into developing her swing. All that building strength and training for days have paid off for Lee, so when she says she's planning on sweeping through women's golf majors, well, we believe her. However, she still didn't think that she was good enough to be compared to Ash Bartley quite as yet, sharing that even though she's in a confident headspace for other major championships, she thinks golf has a long way to go before it's put on the map. But she added, she definitely won't be retiring anytime soon, which is an understatement because we know she's planning on golfing to big places. This year's Open at Melbourne's Kingston Heath from December 1st through 4th will be a global first, with men and women competing at the same time, raising the possibility that Lee may compete alongside her PGA Tour playing brother Min Woo. After winning the Aussie Junior and Amateur, she thinks winning the Aussie Open would be just the cherry on top of the cake. Finally, let's look at some of Lee's coolest accomplishments at the US Women's Open. Lee recorded 22 birdies over the course of 4 rounds at Pine Needles. It was 3 more than everyone else in the field. Lee broke Julie Inkster's previous 54-hole scoring record. Inkster had 201 points after 3 rounds in 1999. Lee tied for 3rd in the tournament with 79% of greens in regulation at Pine Needles. Lee was rated 144th in strokes entering the week. However, she was placed 2nd in that same category at Pine Needles. With her putting, she gained 2.47 strokes each round on the field on average for the week. When Lee birdied the opening hole on Sunday at Pine Needles, she became only the 3rd player in U.S. Women's Open history to shoot 14 under par. Julie Inkster won won in 1999 and Araya Jatanagarn won in 2018. Lee is the third Australian woman to win multiple majors, joining Jan Stephenson and Karrie Webb, and the third to win the U.S. Women's Open. In 2021, Lee won her first major at the Amundi Evian Championship. And here's some other news you might have missed out on. First off, Madeline Shales was named Associate Head Women's Golf Coach. Madeline Shales, an NCAA champion coach and former Tour Pro, has been named Associate Head Coach of the University of Colorado women's golf team, according to head coach Ann Kelly. Shales, who starts on July 1st, succeeds Brent Franklin, who just resigned after 20 years on Kelly's staff as an assistant and associate head coach. Shales began her coaching career as an assistant coach at the Pac-12 Conference for Stanford, where she spent 3 successful seasons. Shales aided Stanford to earn their second NCAA championship in program history in 2022. She helped the Cardinal to NCAA Finals appearance in both her seasons, and the team won the title after earning the top seed in the final 8 teams. Stanford won 11 stroke play tournaments during Shales' 3 seasons on the farm, while Cardinal players won 13 individual titles. Shales has coached 5 WGCA All-Americans, 2 NCAA Players of the Year, and NCAA individual champions, 2 world #1 ranked amateur golfers, 10 Augusta National Women's Amateur invitees, and 5 Arnold Palmer Cup participants. At the Gun Rock Invitational in March 2022, the Cardinals set an NCAA 54-hole record with a team score of 50 under. Oh, and KPMG Women's PGA Championship purse increase highlighted huge gains in women's golf. Women's golf has had a golden year, notably in terms of financial gains. The LPGA announced in November that the prize money for the 34 events in the 2022 season would total $85.7 million, a new high for the country's oldest professional women's sports organization. This figure comprised purse increases in 9 current tournaments, including a $5 million boost to $7 million for the season-ending CME Championship, with the champion receiving $2 million. And the money continues coming in. Players battled for an amazing $10 million purse during the U.S. Women's Open earlier this month at Pine Needles, nearly quadruple the payment offered in 2021. The KPMG Women's PGA Championship, the third of 5 majors in women's golf, is following suit this week. Since last year, the prize at Congressional Country Club has more than quadrupled, climbing from $4.5 million to $9 million. The sum has also increased by 300% from 2014, the year before the PGA of America and KPMG began working together. On Sunday, the winner's portion will be increased to $1.35 million. That's a lot of money. Also, Lally Standers thinks media and sponsors don't give women's golf enough attention. Lee, Minjee Grand, Lin Chun, In-Ji, 3 women who should have made headlines throughout the world in the last month, but do you even know who they are? In the realm of golf, there have been some fascinating innovations. For starters, the LIV Golf Series kicked up in the United Kingdom. This occurred at the same time when a number of high-profile PGA Tour players resigned after the U.S. Tour refused to sanction their participation in the Breakaway Series. However, the revelation of the players who'll compete in the Saudi League a week before the first event couldn't have come at a worse time for women's golf. While the world's greatest women competed in the U.S. Women's Open at Pine Needles Golf Club for a record-breaking $10 million prize, all eyes were on the unfolding drama of LIV golf. How many of you know that Australia's Lee won her second major and the highest paycheck in women's golf history, $1.8 million? That's a wrap for this video. Are you excited to see what Minjee Lee will accomplish next? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.